Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Lori Pender. I am the manager of ministry services with the Make and Deepen Disciples team. And you are joining the Helping You Bless in Living Color breakout session with Christina Burrows. She is an expert on intercultural ministry, and she is also the writer for the Bless in Living Color sermon series. So with that, Christina, I will hand it over to you for your introduction, and we can go from there.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Ardina, Dawn, Donnell. Hi, Valerie. Good to see you all. Well, just in this, hi. In this breakout, I'm just going to be sharing some resources that we have available for you. And Laurie, if you want to share your screen, that'd be great. And since there's only a few of us, I'd love to hear, I'd love to just hear where you're located, Dawn, Donnell, Ardina, and Valerie, and whether you're a pastor, a congregant, what's your, tell me just something a little bit about yourself. Yeah, go ahead, anyone.
My name is Don Ostrom. I'm a retired pastor from Indianapolis, part of the Hope Evangelical Covenant Church, the only congregation in Indianapolis area.
Okay, so you're a retired pastor in Indianapolis.
That's correct.
Okay. Good to meet you, Don.
And I'm exploring this. Our pastor is not available today, so I'm just listening and learning and try to pass on information to him and encourage him to watch it when it's on YouTube. So.
That's great. Okay, Donnell, I saw you unmute.
Yes, good morning, family. My name is Don Earl Johnson, and I serve as a lead pastor for Life Church Auburn Hills. We're a church plant launched in 2019, a multi-ethnic church plant, and again, Auburn Hills, Michigan.
Auburn Hills, Michigan. Okay, great. Church planter. Wonderful. Thank you. How about you, Nan? Oh, somebody's.
Yes, I am a recently retired teacher, so this is my first conference that I could go during the day, and I can't tell you how jealous I was hearing all these other conferences. I am the East Coast Conference Women's Ministry volunteer coordinator, and I do the same thing at our church. And I just love evangelism and discipleship. That's my whole life. So, and thanks, Michelle, for your morning message.
Are you related to the Lingenfelter who wrote Ministering Cross-Culturally?
No, wish I was. I'm in the Springfield, Massachusetts area.
Okay, Springfield, Massachusetts.
Yes.
All right. So we've got in Indiana, Michigan, Massachusetts. All right, who else we got? Ardina. Hi, Liz Bauman.
Hi,
Liz.
Christina. Good to see you.
Liz is my friend.
So happy to be in your breakout room.
Yeah, good to. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Here, I'll show myself real quick. I don't know where I am. I can't see myself, but I'm here.
I can see you.
Okay.
Liz is in Modesto, and she's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, so are you.
Okay, Ardina, your audio isn't working. Do you want to just put in the chat? Thanks, Michelle. Ardina, you want to put in the chat where you are? Oh. Okay. Muskegon, is that right? Okay, wonderful.
Muskegon.
Muskegon, okay. That's the British way. Okay, who else? Is that okay, Valerie? I don't know if her audio is working. Okay, and you're a church administrator, Ardina. And Justin Noseworthy. Hi, Justin.
What's up, Christina? How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
You want to introduce yourself quickly?
Sure, yeah. Justin, and just pastor in Monterey, California.
Church planter.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Christina knows that story better than most. Good to see you, Christina. Thanks for hosting.
See you. And Sudi.
Yes, I am. We are actually traveling on Interstate 55 right now, so that's why I don't have on my video.
Okay. And where do you live?
We live near Rockford, Illinois.
Okay.
That's not too far from Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And are you a member of a covenant church there?
First Covenant, Rockford.
Okay. Wonderful. And are you a congregant, church administrator, pastor?
A congregant.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Valerie, I don't know whether you want to just put in the chat where you are, unless your audio is working. We'll look out in the chat for you. Right, well, welcome everybody. And so I want to share a few resources that Michelle and the team, including myself, have put together. Every year for the Bless series, we create a new resource just to freshen it up and to make sure that people are engaging with Bless and engaging people in sharing the good news of Jesus in a relevant way for this season. And this year we've Laurie, you can put the next slide. Thank you. So this year we've put together a series, a 5-week series of sermon outlines called Bless in Living Color. And so it's still the Bless series, but each of the passages is focused on making disciples with a different group than ourselves. And so I just want to, this is a resource that Michelle wrote the first one, I wrote the other 4, and we really hope that this is a resource that any church can use, that any preacher can use, or even in a small group setting that you could discuss it together. And so I just wanted to run through what passage we've chosen for each of the 5 sermons. So next slide, please, Laurie. So for the first one, as you know, of Bless, the B is begin with prayer. And so the way that we want to engage people by beginning with prayer, because it's really the Holy Spirit who moves in people's hearts, and we are just joining in the movement of God and to see God transform people's lives. So we're beginning with the story of Abraham and how God calls Abraham and says, you are going to be blessed and you will be a blessing to all nations. All nations will be blessed through you. And then from Acts 1, praying for Pentecost, and just with a posture of dependence on the Holy Spirit, that we will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on us, and that the Holy Spirit will empower us to fulfill the Great Commission to make disciples of all nations. And then the second sermon, next slide, please, is listen with care. And again, just a reminder of God's call to Abraham, and that we are part of that legacy, and the children of Abraham, and the God calls, we are blessed also to be a blessing. And then we base the sermon on Acts 8 and Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch. And so just looking at the way that Philip, the Holy Spirit leads Philip to this Ethiopian eunuch who is searching for God, and he listens, and he's able to leads this Ethiopian eunuch to Jesus. And so Laurie has put the link to these sermon outlines in the chat, and they're in English and Spanish. We've had them translated into Spanish for those of you in a Spanish-speaking context. And that link is for all 5 of the sermons. And they're really beautifully designed. And there's some pictures in there that you can include in your own slides. So we hope that'll be useful. So the third sermon, E, next slide, please. Thank you. Eat Together, is focused on the story of Zacchaeus and how Jesus calls this, the story of Zacchaeus, this tax collector. He is so different from Jesus and the disciples. He is considered an outcast. Jesus reaches out to him. He sees him. He calls him down from the tree, and he goes and eats together with Zacchaeus, and his life is transformed, and all of those in Zacchaeus's radius are transformed as they see God transform his life. And then the first S is share your story. Oh, let's go to serve with love. That's it. And so this sermon is based on John 13, 1-17, where Jesus washes the disciples' feet, and calls us at the end of that passage, now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. And he calls us to be a servant to those around us. And so the invitation to us is to be like Jesus and to serve with love and to demonstrate Jesus' love through service. And then the final sermon is to share your story. And this is based on Acts 17, Paul's sermon at the Areopagus, or on Mars Hill. And Jesus, Paul shares the story of Jesus to this bunch of pagan philosophers. And it's just an incredible example of Paul's intercultural agility. The way that he communicates Jesus to the Pharisees is different from the way he communicates to the Romans, and it's different from the way he communicates here in Acts 17, where he is able to use their philosophers and quotes from their own philosophers to show them Jesus. And so it's an example for us of how we can bless in living color, and to just to be agile in the way that we communicate and share Jesus, and to love people well, to notice how they will receive the gospel as good news. So that's the Bless in Living Color series. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? No? Okay. Right, well, I'll move on to the Bless in Living Color 10-day devotional. So this is a series of emails that you can get, that you can sign up for.
Do you know what? Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm got a couple different microphones here. I want to say one other thing about the Bless and Living Color sermon series. So the way that we like to design our Bless resources is that you can either use them for one Sunday, and have a complete experience, or you can use them for multiple Sundays. So the first sermon on bless, begin with prayer. In and of itself, you could just use that one as a complete experience, and it would be a fulsome sermon. And then at the end, the challenge for people would be, as they fill out their blessed prayer lists, to make sure that that all of the people on their list are not just like them, right? Like that you would challenge them to think about areas of difference and how to pray for people who are also not like them, so that they would have a more colorful prayer list. Okay. And so even if you just did that, that would be a great experience for your church, but we also have the other sermons as well.
Thank you, Michelle. So in the chat, I put a link to the Blessed Conference today. And in my breakouts, the paragraph about my breakout, there are several links that are live there. And there's a link to sign up for the 10-day devotional. And so Michelle put these together. They're great devotionals. And so it just walks through each of these points in bless, and to just encourage you to live out bless in living color in your own life. So I encourage you to sign up for that. It's a very encouraging resource for you and other people in your congregation. Do you want to add anything to that, Michelle, on the devotional?
No, but it would be nice. I'll see if I can find the direct link to the 10-day devotional, because it's a quick sign up, and then you'll see what it looks like.
So could I just say too that keep developing these resources. We have a women's retreat, and every year I give a breakout on bless. And every year I say, so how many of you are familiar with bless? I kind of have a outline A, outline B, outline C, depending on their experience. And every single year, since bless started, they've said, yeah, we really don't know that much about it.
Huh.
And our church is doing a whole sermon series for the whole year on bless. It's our bless year. So, yeah. So, so keep going with this. And so many ministries, have a focus, and the next year it's another focus, and the next year it's another focus. But I love this, and you can't. Thank you so much for moving forward with it.
Thank you so much, Nan. That's really encouraging to hear. Okay, I'd like to just introduce you to a couple of other resources we have. So this one is called the IDI, the Intercultural Development Inventory. And this resource is, it's an assessment that you can do, and it's for individuals and groups. And so if you do this assessment, you will receive an individual profile and or a group profile. And the goal of the Intercultural Development Inventory is to help you to gain greater self-awareness in the way that you respond to cultural similarity and difference. And it's a very helpful tool. It usually shows you something about your own story, and often helps you to notice things that you may not have noticed before about your own cultural background and the way that you relate to others. And the way that you can sign up for this is simply idi@covchurch.org. It's a very easy address. And so if you're interested in that, you just email that address and say, I heard Christina Burrows talking about this at the breakouts at the Blessed Conference. Can you tell me more about it? And this is available for you as an individual. And it's $66 per person. And then it's also available for you as a group. So if you had, say, a small group or a church leadership team, or even an entire congregation that wanted to do the IDI, then we can provide qualified facilitators who will go through your individual profiles with you, and can also go through a group profile with you. Any questions about IDI? Has anyone, hands up, has anyone taken the IDI before? Justin, I expect you have. Steve, you've taken it. If anyone's in an anti-racism discipleship pathway, then they probably will have taken it. And
I'm sorry, can you explain what the cost was for? Was it for the actual inventory or for a summary of the inventory?
so $66 is the cost for an individual person to take the IDI, and you will receive a profile and a personalized intercultural development plan, like a workshop, a worksheet, 20-page worksheet that's that is designed for your developmental stage to help you reflect further on your own growth, and a 60-minute individual debrief.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And hi to those who joined since we started. Hi, Ken Saderberg, and Myung Hee. If you want to just put in the chat where you're, Ken, I know Ken, and Myung Hee, I did. If you want to put in the chat where you are, I've never met you before. That would be great. Okay, the next resource is from KnowledgeWorks, which is a company in Dubai. And they, so this is it's actually a management consultancy that trains multinationals in how to work well with people of different cultures. But the founders are believers, and so about 30% of their clients are Christian organizations, mission agencies, denominations, and I was trained by them when I was training director for a global mission agency, and we used their method to help our American workers to know how to relate well to people of other cultures when they're moving overseas as global personnel. But this is really, this approach is a little bit different to the IDI. The IDI is all about how well you relate to people of other cultures. This one is also a self-awareness tool, but it's not really about competence. It's just to help you understand, what's my cultural worldview? What are my cultural preferences? For example, in communication, am I more of a direct communicator or an indirect communicator? And then it helps you to know how to recognize how other people, what other people's cultural preferences are, and then how to work well with them. And so in the US, more and more people are working online, especially since the pandemic, and a lot of people are working in, with well, even on this call, we have people in Indiana, Michigan, Massachusetts, California, Illinois, and there are cultural differences even within this call, and many people in our congregations are working online with people from all over the country, or even in other countries. And so knowing how to relate well to people of different cultures, and then ultimately for us to be able to share the love of Jesus and make disciples of people of different cultures. And this intercultural intelligence is a way to help people to grow in their ability to do that well and effectively. And if you're interested in this, then you can contact me. And I'm just going to put my email in the chat here. There are a few of us in the covenant who are trained in this method, Paul Robinson and Celeste Jackie and the LMDJ team, Sandy Lee and the East Coast Conference team, Phil Nestor, Matt Olseth and the PSWC team, Tammy Long, a pastor here in California, and Cindy Wu in Texas. So it's a growing number of facilitators in the covenant who are trained in this method of intercultural intelligence. Any questions about this?
I have a question.
Yeah.
And hey, you may have already gone over this, but I've done the IDI. I have not done the ICI, this intercultural intelligence one. So is it a similar process? Like you take a test and then you talk to someone, or like, kind of what happens after you take the test?
Yeah, good question. So for this one, there are 2 tests. So as it says on the slide, 3 colors of worldview and 12 dimensions of culture. So the first assessment helps you to understand your worldview, whether it's more focused on right and wrong, honor and shame, or power and fear. And then the other assessment helps you to understand the way that you lean on 12 dimensions of culture. And so, as I said, things like communication, whether you're more of a direct communicator or indirect communicator, or whether the way you express yourself, that you express your emotions a lot or you conceal your emotions a lot. And so similar to the IDI, you can have an individual debrief or a group debrief, and there are individual profiles and group profiles. And then additionally, for intercultural intelligence, we do a 10-hour cohort model course. And so that's on Zoom. And so you would do the assessments as part of the cohort and go through the assessments as part of the cohort. But then there's additional training in things like different communication styles, under some practical tools of how to relate well in cultural conflict situations, that kind of thing. So you can do individual, have an individual debrief, a group debrief, and cohort training.
All right, thank you.
And then any other questions on intercultural intelligence? All right, the last resource. Hi, Myung-hee, Metro Community Church in New Jersey. Okay.
Hi, nice to meet you, everyone.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
So the last resource I wanted to point you to is the one that Michelle mentioned in her first session. This is the Becoming a Beloved Community Suite. And this is an incredible page of resources and links that is growing, and it's there are resources to help you make disciples of all ages. There's children's resources, youth resources for different ages, different. There are Bible studies. There's all sorts of things. I encourage you to have a look. Again, on that that link that I put earlier, just the Cove Church Bless 2022. Jane or somebody helpfully provided a link to the Beloved Community Resource Suite. Or Laurie, I don't know if you want to put that link, direct link. Actually, I can probably find it. Put it in the chat in a minute. But I encourage you to have a look at that. And then if you're thinking, I would love to be more intentional about reaching out with the love of Jesus to people who are different from me, but I don't really know where to start, have a look there, because there are so many wonderful resources on that page. any questions about the Becoming a Beloved Community resource suite? Okay, right. Well, Laurie, you can stop sharing if you want, and then we have 15 minutes, and I'd like to just open it up for questions, and then also just to hear a bit from you about ways that in your setting that you have been what you found helpful in using Bless, or in just reaching out and sharing Jesus, and especially sharing Jesus across boundaries of difference.
Well, I'll start. My son married a young woman who is Vietnamese a number of years ago. And I remember when I first heard that they were dating, I went, oh, okay. You know, she's thin and pretty and intelligent and great. So she's wonderful, easygoing. She's a corporate lawyer. So we've spent quite a bit of time together. One time we were at an event at the Edith Wharton home in Western Massachusetts. And she said, this is a very white place. And I looked around and there were white stones and they were white. And then it hit me. She was the only person of color there. And I can't tell you how I've been there many times with other people. And I actually try to bring people of minorities there. And I look around and we're still the only person of color. And when you spend time with another person of color, you see things differently. I just think so much of evangelism discipleship is just time with other people. I mean, I love all the sermons, I love all the Bible studies, but if I were to write a book, and I'd love to, about how I've been discipled, it's just those conversations with people every day, you know what I mean? Just kind of living your life with people. And it's those experiences that it teach you, you know, to open your eyes a little bit and to have personal conversations. My favorite phrase is, can I ask you a personal question? And I have never had anyone say no, you know? And so I say, well, how do you feel? Or what has been your experience? Or, and so it's just being with people. There's no substitute for it.
Yes. Yeah. Being with people. Thank you so much, Nan. Building relationships. That's wonderful. That's everything. It's so important. Thank you.
I have been in Korean church in Korean community for a long time. God gave me new heart to serving second generation. So I moved to Metro Church for 4 years ago. So I tried to learn language and culture, but it's not easy. But I keep going to the way to understand and try to make others understand me several ways. Have relationship, intimately. So.
Yeah, thank you, Myung-hee. That's wonderful. Yes, Steve.
2 years ago at the annual meeting, the covenant repudiated the doctrine of discovery. Our church was not exactly on the same page with the statement of the covenant. We had a few tweaks of our own, but we took very seriously the notion that we should do something to promote better relations with our Indigenous friends. And so we have started a relationship with a Native American Ministry Center a couple hours north of us with the idea that we would enter into a partnership with them, that we would mutually do discipleship together. And we're starting to do that I've gone up there to do some work with them. The next step is for them to come down and do some ministry with us. And so we're working on that.
Steve, I cannot tell you how that encourages me to hear that story, that testimony. We are well aware that, you know, as it was specifically worded, not everyone loved every single piece of the repudiation. We're well aware of that. But I feel like it's quite rare for folks to take that next step and say, but where can we agree? And let's go deeper. I'm so encouraged. Thank you for sharing that testimony.
Yeah, that is really inspirational. Thank you, Steve. I'm really excited to hear that.
I can add on what we've done in respect to building relationship.
Yeah.
We create space for, we call them international potlucks that we have. And we would do it quarterly. We try to do it quarterly, where we create space for people of different backgrounds to come together, share a meal and share stories behind, hey, what this meal means to you, to your context. And it's been pretty amazing. You know, food is, I mean, you guys already know, I don't have to preach to the choir, but it's just a really powerful space that you create when people can come together, share a meal and share stories. And so the relationship, as you said, is vital. You can read all the books and everything, and it's just a topic, but until it turns to someone you care about or someone you love, then it doesn't really move you. And so that's what we try to do.
I love that. That sounds amazing, Donnell. Thank you so much for sharing. Ken?
Yeah, I just wanted to say so my wife and I, we just returned to France, where we serve globally. And our focus is on refugees and asylum seekers and people who have been trafficked. So it's quite a diverse cultural world that we live in. The refugees come from the Middle East, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Sudan, Central Africa, just about everywhere. So, but I really wanted to talk about the US because we just finished a year of home assignment in the US. And Adrian's from San Francisco, but we had housing in Oakland. And we lived in between the hood and the wealth of Oakland, and saw so clearly what systemic racism has done in that community. And that's the community of Joseph Rashid and Greg Yee, and a number of covenant leaders have come out of that. So just living that for the year was quite eye-opening. Yeah, I don't have to be convinced that there are a lot of things that need to be fixed. The other encouraging thing is we're supported by about 20 covenant churches, and encouraged to see that so many of these churches are engaged, not only in refugees, but in other ethnic communities in their neighborhoods, everywhere from Portland, Maine, and Lunenburg, Massachusetts, to Sacramento and the Bay Area. So really encouraged to see that many churches have gotten a vision to outreach to communities that are not like themselves.
Thank you, Ken. And the work you guys are doing is inspirational as well, and really fantastic. And we loved having Ken and Adrian come to our church to share about their work. And our church partners with World Relief, which is not a covenant entity, but I would say there may be people in your community who have already done tons of, who are already experts in working with, a different group like refugees. And World Relief is a wonderful organization. And so we just partner with them. And so several people in our church have gone through the volunteer training, and then whatever our area of gifting, then we just plug in where they need help. So setting up apartments for refugees, coaching people to find jobs. I tutor Afghan ladies in English, ESL, and that's partnership is a really great way to get connected with a different community other than your own. Any other ways that anything else people want to share? Liz, I feel like you want to say something.
We're blessed to have a Ukrainian family come and stay at our church for about 4 months. And they came in July, and that was just an amazing experience. There was a family. They had 4 in the family plus the mom, and they all just had to flee the Ukraine at the beginning of the war. We have a wonderful young couple in our church who are Ukrainian, and through friends knew them. So they came to stay at our church in July, and we had done a lot of upgrading to D-building. Christina, you remember D-building, and had done some like flooring and redid the bathrooms and the shower area. So we just had so many people pour into them and bring in, things for them, items. They came in with 4 bags total of things to bring with them. And they had 2 young children as well. So our local outreach team really poured into them and reached out to the church, and didn't know where they were spiritually, but after a few weeks, they started attending the service, Sunday service, and the kids started going to the children's activities. And it was so neat to see them. That, of course, they're incredibly grateful. And then the family that is already involved with our church, how they helped kind of get them acclimated, because they didn't speak any English except for one, the wife, she spoke. And so it's been a great journey for our church. Our church is primarily white, so we've been working really hard to become more diverse, and having them come to the service and get involved with small groups and activities was really great for just our whole church. And then they were finally able to find long-term housing down the street. So we had a little celebration goodbye for them. They moved 2 weeks ago. And it's amazing to see how much stuff they had. They have 2 trucks worth of things by the time they left the church, couches and bedding and things like that. And so we have created a relationship with them, and we hope they continue to come on Sunday mornings. I have seen them last 2 weeks. But it was such a great experience for our church to see what they'd gone through, and they were able to share in church with the translators through our friend. She translated for us, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the church that day, because it was such a vital. I just feel like in Modesto, we're just so, I don't know. I don't feel like we're very international. So we just really need to work at doing that and becoming more missional and internationally missional. So I thought it was a great experience for us. I saw God really work in that. And I'm just praying for this family. They're wonderful people, and they really want to make it on their own. So we're trying to help with resources for jobs and things like that. But, it's challenging when you come from another country. And the kids they're doing great. They're really adjusting to school. And we had people go to the school with them and help them acclimate. So I thought that was a great experience for us to get to partner with them. And we are definitely open to more refugee families coming through. I think we're going to actually have another family come soon. So
thank you so much, Liz, for sharing that. I'm so glad that Modesto Covenant was able to host that family, and to be able to be connected in that way. All right, well, I think our time is up. But thank you so much for joining us. Laurie, was there anything else that you wanted to say?
Sorry, hold on one second, starting my video. No, we just wanted to thank y'all so much for joining us in this breakout session and just for coming to the Blessed Conference. It's such a blessing to us to see all of you here. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of the day and are blessed.